Today we will be in 2 Kings chapter 23. We had the two worst kings in Judah happen, and now we are currently talking about the best king that has happened in Judah. A reminder, one of his priests found the book of the law, and if you know what it is, you have more biblical understanding than me. Because our world told is it's the book of the law, and later today we will find out it's called the book of the covenant. Whoop-de-doo, there's at least 4 books that it could be about, so we're not quite sure. All we know is it's probably not Genesis. But when he reads it, he goes, oh, shoot, dog, we ain't doing right. So he goes, talks to a prophetess, and she goes, you have the right heart, Judah's going to fall. But it won't happen during your lifetime, which is at least something promising. Can I get a volunteer? Okay, I'm going to get a lot of volunteers because this is a very big chunk. Can I get someone to read 1 to 10? Thank you.
Then the king sent, and all the elders of Judah and Jerusalem were gathered to him. And the king went up to the house of the Lord, and with him all the men of Judah and all the inhabitants of Jerusalem and the priests and the prophets, all the people, both small and great. And he read in their hearing all the words of the book of the covenant that had been found in the house of the Lord. And the king stood by the pillar and made a covenant before the Lord to walk after the Lord and keep his commandments and his testimonies and his statutes with all his heart and all his soul, to perform the words of this covenant that were written in this book. And all the people joined in the covenant. And the king commanded Hilkiah, the high priest, and the priests of the second order, and the keepers of the threshold, to bring out of the temple of the Lord all the vessels made for Baal, for Asherah, and for all the host of heaven. He burned them outside Jerusalem in the fields of the Kidron, and carried their ashes to Bethel. And he deposed the priests whom the kings of Judah had ordained to make offerings in the high places at the cities of Judah and around Jerusalem. Those also who burned incense to Baal, to the sun and the moon, and the constellations, and all the host of the heavens. And he brought out of the Asherah from the house of the Lord, outside Jerusalem, to the brook Kidron, and burned it at the brook Kidron, and beat it to dust, and cast the dust of it upon the graves of the common people. And he broke down the houses of the male cult prostitutes who were in the house of the Lord, where the women wove hangings for the Asherah. And he brought all the priests out of the cities of Judah, and defiled the high places where the priests had made offerings, from Geba to Beersheba, and he broke down the high places of the gates that were at the entrance of the gate of Joshua, the governor of the city, which were on one's left at the gate of the city. However, the priests of the high places did not come up to the altar of the Lord in Jerusalem, but they ate unleavened bread among their brothers. And he defiled Topheth, which is in the valley of the son of Hinnom, that no one might burn his son or his daughter as offering to Molech.
Can I get a volunteer for 11 to 20? Thank you. Oh, it's Reformation time. Let's go. So Josiah has zeal, and he takes it to cleanse everything. Every high place, every fancy tree people worship, anything and everything he removes. Which it's fascinating that it takes the third to last king to remove things that Solomon had made. But his zeal goes absolutely so far that something that was even remotely bad previously, he removes. The easiest way to say is he cleanses this fully of anything pagan, which is a great way to summarize 20 verses. It is also interesting to note that as he mentions the statues that Solomon had made, he also mentions Jeroboam. And Jeroboam, despite how many verses we've read, was the first king of Israel. So he cleansed all of it to just show how far his zeal had gone. Now, something I want to put in your minds, and you know what? Let's just have a full discussion. Who's better, Josiah or Jehu? Because Jehu went out and killed all the unrighteous people in Israel, not in the kingdom of Israel. And Josiah is cleansing all of the unholy places in Judah. Both according to God's will. Who's better? Okay, I'm hearing whispers. Speak it out.
Well, it does say you sacrifice all the priests.
Mm-hmm.
In that last verse, right?
Yeah,
All the high places there.
all the pagan
All the
priests.
altars, burn human bones on them, and you return. So, I'm going to say Josiah.
Josiah? I got one vote for Josiah. Who else? Or are you all in agreement it's Josiah? Yeah.
Because like you said, he did a thorough cleansing. He took it all out.
So then I pose to you the question, what's the difference between Josiah and Jehu? Because both did according to God's will. Just one had the law that was still actively being read, and the other had to have the law be refound for him to do this. As I spill coffee on myself. Sorry.
Other than the fact that Josiah did a lot more work, probably. He did take it all out. So,
I think when you destroy the symbols, Azra, those poles were set up on all the high places all over. And some of them were massive, massive poles, and abominations happened, ritual abominations, they killed their children.
Yeah.
And so forth. I think by taking those away, you remove, the visual part.
Just to clarify, the abomination of the Sidonians and of Moab and the Amorites, that was their gods, which is a very interesting way to put their gods was abominations, but if it's pulling people from God at this point, yeah, that's a bad thing. So the reason why I bring up Jehu again is because I think he gets a bad rap. But the big difference between Jehu and Josiah is doing things and not taking them too far, which is absurd to say because you have someone literally digging up graves and burning bones. But he's doing this all in accordance with God's will, whereas Jehu, yes, is doing everything in accordance to God's will, takes it too far. He cleanses, and then he gets a little bit too zealous about his cleansing, and he gets a little too bloody about it as well. So even though Jehu does go and cleanse Israel for a lot of its stuff, he didn't do it thoroughly, and he didn't finish, because he still kept the sins that Jeroboam had caused the Israelites to do, which was the golden calves. Fun times. Unfortunately, the fun times are not over because we still have the Passover. Now, I want to state right now, the Passover was worshipped, and it had still been worshipped, but it wasn't worshipped as zealously and as fervently as had Jehu as Josiah had done. Can I get a volunteer to read 21 through 27? Thank you.
Commanded all the people, keep the Passover to the Lord your God, as it is written in this book of the covenant. For no such Passover has been kept since the days of the judges who ruled Israel, or during all the days of the kings of Israel, or of the kings of Judah. But in the 18th year of King Josiah, this Passover was kept to the Lord in Jerusalem. Moreover, Josiah put away the mediums and the necromancers, and the household gods, many idols, and all the abominations that were seen in the land of Judah and in Jerusalem, that he might establish the words of the law that were written in the book that Hilkiah the priest found in the house of the Lord. Before him there was no king like him, who turned to the Lord with all his heart, and with all his soul, and with all his might, according to the law of Moses, nor did any like him arise after him. Still, the Lord did not turn from the burning of his great wrath, by which his anger was kindled against Judah, because of all the provocations with which Manasseh has provoked him. Then the Lord said, I will remove Judah also out of my sight, as I have removed Israel, and I will cast off this city that I have chosen, Jerusalem, and the house of which I said, my name shall be there.
Absolutely passionate Passover. But if you guys remember the title from last week, Too Little, Too Late. Manasseh was so bad, along with all the sins that had been caused by all the Israelite people, that it's just too late. Your sins are too great, and you're going to fall back into your ways. The only way to have you guys understand this is the Assyrian and the Babylonian exiles. So even though this was an amazing Passover that I highly doubt we will ever see the likes of its worshiping, doesn't matter. It is important to note this, that the Passover is now going to be continually re-celebrated for the rest of time. It is bringing it back from almost pagan festival-like stuff. So if you really want to dive into what some of it could be, look up the first Christmases, which were, actually, look up Christmas about 1,000 years ago. Because what you find in that is nowhere near what it is today. It's actually because of a lot of Puritan laws that how we celebrate Christmas now is very subtle. Christmas used to be this whole huge debauchery. Like, that was what Christmas was. You got drunk beyond belief. That's how you celebrated Christmas. And yeah, sure, there was a church mass, but that wasn't what you really focused on. You focused on celebrating and partying. And it was more like, oh, someone's not going to let us sing carols. We're going to do the trick or treat, TP, egg, everything. It was absolutely horrendous. To pull it back to relevancy, that's what Passover had become, this huge thing of debauchery. Sure, yeah, God might have been mentioned in it, but it wasn't this religious thing. It was, hey, look, I get a paid weekend. Let's have fun. The next part is unfortunately Josiah being too big for his britches. He goes from being this very Davidic king to deciding he knows better. And I will have to have someone read for us from Chronicles, or I might do that myself, either one. But first, let us get a volunteer to read verses 28 through 30. Thank you.
The rest of the acts of Josiah and all that he did, are they not written in the book of the Chronicles of the kings of Judah? In his days, Pharaoh Necho, king of Egypt, went up to the king of Assyria to the river Euphrates. King Josiah went to meet him, and Pharaoh Necho killed him in Megiddo as soon as he saw him. And his servants carried him dead in the chariot from Megiddo, and brought him to Jerusalem, and buried him in his own tomb. All the people of the land took Jehoahaz, the son of Josiah, and anointed him, and made him king in his father's place.
Sean, can I have you look up 2 Chronicles 35, 20 through 27? 2 Chronicles 35, 20 through 27. And then can I have you read that out for us?
After all this, when Josiah had prepared the temple, Necho king of Egypt went up to fight at Carchemish on the Euphrates, and Josiah went out to meet him. But he sent envoys to him, saying, "What have we to do with each other, king of Judah? I am not coming against you this day, but against the house of which I am a lord, and God has commanded me to hurry. Cease opposing God, who is with me, lest he destroy you." Nevertheless, Josiah did not turn away from this, but disguised himself in order to fight with him. He did not listen to the words of Necho from the mouth of God, but came to fight in the plain of Megiddo. Then the archer shot King Josiah, and the king said to his servants, "Take me away, for I am badly wounded." So his servants took him out of the chariot and carried him in his second chariot and brought him to Jerusalem, and he died and was buried in the tombs of his fathers. All Judah and Jerusalem mourned for Josiah. Jeremiah also uttered a lament for Josiah, and all the singing men and singing women have spoken of Josiah in their laments to this day. They made thee a rule in Israel. Behold, they are written in the laments. Now the rest of the acts of Josiah and his good deeds, according to what is written in the book of the Lord, and his acts first and last, behold, they are written in the book of the kings of Israel and Judah.
That's another book that we don't have, but I wanted that to be read to help shed more light on this passage. He got too big for his britches. He thought he knew what was happening, and instead of listening to what God was telling him through Necho, he decided to disguise himself like previous kings had done and go out to battle. And just like those previous kings who had disguised themselves to go out to battle, lo and behold, he gets killed. He's brought back, he's buried with his family, and so ends Josiah. The Davidic king ends because of hubris. Honestly, quite fitting with how all the other kings had gone. We'll finish out this section, and then I'll turn to you guys to ask questions. Can I get a volunteer to read 30 through 35? Sorry, 31 through 35. Thank you. Jehoaz.
Was 23 years old when he began to reign, and he reigned 3 months in Jerusalem. His mother's name was Hamutal, the daughter of Jeremiah in Libnah. And he did what was evil in the sight of the Lord, according to all that his fathers had done. And Pharaoh Necho put him in bonds at Riblah, in the land of Hamath, that he might not reign in Jerusalem, and laid on the land a tribute of 100 talents of silver and a talent of gold. And Pharaoh Necho made Eliakim, the son of Josiah, king in the place of Josiah his father, and changed his name to Jehoiakim.
Yeah.
But he took Jehoaz away, and he came to Egypt and died there. And Jehoiakim gave the silver and the gold to Pharaoh, but he taxed the land to give them money according to the command of Pharaoh. He exacted the silver and the gold of the people of the land, but everyone according to his assessment, to give it to Pharaoh Necho.
Jehoaz is 23, and that's it. He doesn't even reign that long. It's interesting that he became king before his brother because Jehoaz was 2 years younger than his brother. And despite everything now, oh, look, Israel's back under Israelite king. This feels a little circular, don't you think? You have a king who was really good, and so we jump all the way back to the first kings, removing all the paganism out of the land that they were promised. And then you jump a little bit more, and oh, look, it's Israelites back under Egyptian rule. And soon enough, we're going to have other problems. So I'm going to turn it over to you guys. What are your thoughts right now? We're 2 chapters from the end. We've seen the highest high that Israel will ever see, and we're seeing it start going to rock bottom and rock bottom fast. What are your thoughts or comments?
forgetting everything his fathers did, and he went and destroyed all the things for the other gods. And then he fails when, like, something comes like the Pharaoh for Egypt. It seems to me that he did not ask God's, like, advice on the thing, and he went on his own, and that's why he was killed and died. I'm not sure. This is my thought. I'm asking if this is correct.
That's how I interpreted it, which it ironically makes him very Davidic. Because even David, while lusting after the heart of the Lord, did do things that eventually got him into deep troubles. We see that with Bathsheba, we see that with Absalom, we see that with how he treated Saul. Instead of becoming king, he let all these other things happen. And David's list goes on. Was he a great man? No, but he was a godly one, and that's the big difference. I see the same thing happening with Josiah. Was he the best king? No. Was he a good man? No, because of how he dies. But he was a godly one and followed God's statutes to the end.
How are you godly and not good?
I separate that as the secular understanding of good and the biblical understanding of,
So secular being like smart,
yeah.
or
Because there's more than once in here where we see that the godly action is to let the army go. But that's not being a good king. A good king, you would kill that army so that they don't attack your people again. But being the the godly answer in it is let the people go. We saw that with, I believe it was Elisha, where he commanded the Israelite king, let the army go. I'm going to keep pounding on that one because that's the first one that came to mind. But would that make you a good king, letting the enemy army that you just captured go? Someone with a hand?
If King Josiah just would have stayed in Jerusalem, Jerusalem's off the main highway.
Oh, yeah.
And the Pharaoh, all he wanted to do was get to Assyria to help the Assyrians against the Babylonians, and Josiah wouldn't even have done anything. He could have just let him go,
Yeah.
and let him help the Assyrians, and then that would be fine.
Yeah, just do a
I think
toll road.
His pride got in the way, and sent out, and of course that was his downfall.
Yeah. Judah at this point is a joke of a kingdom. It has so few people, it's been battered so much, it's so divided that you could walk all over it. But Josiah got too big for his britches and too filled with pride, going, you're not walking through my place. I'm going to go fight you because you undermined my authority. Well, like most people who do that, there goes your life. I saw another hand. Or am I hallucinating? Okay. Any other comments or questions? This is about the freest time we can do it until after this. Nothing? Okay. We will move on to chapter 24. Babylon is at the door. Can I get someone to read Jehoiakim reigns in Judah, which is going to be 2 Kings 23, verse 36, all the way to 2 Kings 24, verse 7. Thank you, Bobby.
36, you said, right?
Yeah.
Jehoiakim was 25 years old when he began to reign, and he reigned 11 years in Jerusalem. His mother's name was Zebidah, the daughter of Pedaiah of Rumah. And he did what was evil in the sight of the Lord, according to all that his fathers had done. In his days, Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, came up, and Jehoiakim became his servant 3 years. Then he turned and rebelled against him, and the Lord sent against him bands of the Chaldeans, and bands of the Syrians, and bands of the Moabites, and bands of the Ammonites, and sent them against Judah to destroy it, according to the word of the Lord that he spoke by his servants the prophets. Surely this came upon Judah at the command of the Lord, to remove them out of his sight, for the sins of Manasseh, according to all that he had done, and also for the innocent blood that he had shed. For he filled Jerusalem with innocent blood, and the Lord would not pardon. Now the rest of the deeds of Jehoiakim and all that he did, are they not written in the book of the Chronicles of the Kings of Judah. So Jehoiakim slept with his fathers, and Jehoiachin, his son, reigned in his place. And the king of Egypt did not come again out of his land, for the king of Babylon had taken all that belonged to the king of Egypt from the brook of Egypt to the river Euphrates. Jehoiachin was 18 years old when he became king, and he reigned 3 months in Jerusalem. His mother's name was Nehushta, the daughter of Elnathan of Jerusalem. And he did what was evil in the sight of the Lord, according to all that his fathers had done.
Thank you.
Is that it? I'm sorry.
Yeah, you're good, because at that we get Babylon, and let's stop right before there. So we have Jehoiakim reigning. So he's 25 when he starts, and he's 36 when he's done. And Babylon became the de facto ruler of the kingdom of Judah. So they became a vassal state, which meant they had to pay taxes, and they were subject to any war that Babylon did. They would have to give up their people. However, like all things Jewish that we will find, they don't like other people in control, and we're going to see them try and revolt. Emphasis on try. When they try, they fail, and it fails spectacularly. And I say that for the devastation that it causes. After this, we get Jehoiachin, who's 18 when he reigns, and that's as long as he lasts. Because Nebuchadnezzar is going to... Nope, I am skipping ahead to the wrong king. Yeah. Babylon is at the door at this point, and we are about to see it turn, and I think we have to end here. So we're going to end right here. Next, we will start with, we'll finish all of 2 Kings.